Monster movie fans are eating well at the end of 2023 and the start of 2024 with Godzilla Minus One and Godzilla x Kong: New Empire. Move out of the way, Doom Part 2 and your suspicious-looking popcorn holder, because there's a new sheriff in town. Growing up, my dad would go to a Japanese marketplace that would sell VHS copies of Godzilla. 7-year-old me really didn't know much about the different versions of Godzilla. All I cared about was what appeared to be basically an awesome-looking T-Rex that could shoot lasers out of his mouth. Godzilla 2000 was my first introduction into this colossal monster's world, and ever since then, I've been a major fan. When it came to King Kong, that wasn't the case. Little old me could not handle the 2005 King Kong movie directed by Peter Jackson. My family very much remembers me crying in the theater when the tribe summoned King Kong or during the bug sequence. And then they had to take me out of the theater as the movie was still playing. Such fond memories. What I did enjoy from the movie was how one oversized monkey managed to take on the dinosaurs that kept coming his way, all the while making sure his damsel in distress didn't die in the process. And from the looks of it, it was no easy feat either. Fast forward to 2024 and we have several new movies with Godzilla and King Kong sparking a new era of titanic monster movies. What started it all was in 2014 with the release of Godzilla, an American version of Japan's beloved kaiju, Gojira. In this film, Godzilla's appearance took some time. Instead of attacking the main threats right away, it focused more on how Godzilla and the other giant monstrosities were impacting ordinary, everyday people. Everything is built up to the moment Godzilla's entire body slowly enters the frame as he lets out his bellowing roar, ready to take on the latest threat. Then, in 2019 came the release of Godzilla, King of the Monster. Instead of treating Godzilla as a suspenseful tool, the movie contained more stellar fight sequences, with the main rival, the three-headed King Ghidorah. Having Godzilla in his radioactive form from the Destroya film was a nice little homage, but until this year, the age-old question that troubles playground youths and leaves philosophers wondering was still unanswered. Who will win in a fight? Godzilla or King Kong? Since I'm already a little biased to Godzilla, I was very happy with the outcome of the movie showing Godzilla as a powerhouse and not to be trifled with. But with a proper team up with King Kong, they are a formidable and unstoppable force. In this review of New Empire, there will be heavy spoilers throughout, so watch at your own atomic peril. At the start of the movie, King Kong is the last of his kind, or so we think. He is trying to find others like him in Hollow Earth, a subterranean Earth populated with all sorts of fantastical creatures. Kong does manage to find his people, along with his evil doppelganger dubbed Scar King, who is enslaving his monkey brethren. Kong tries to take on Scar King, but loses, because Scar King has a secret weapon used to control a female version of Godzilla named Shimo. Meanwhile, our original Godzilla is off having fun and killing titans to absorb their powers. In need of an ally, King Kong must seek out Godzilla and convince him to team up to defeat Scar King, before Scar King defeats them. However, the title Godzilla x Kong is a bit misleading. I would call it the magical adventures of Hollow Earth with King Kong and guest appearance Godzilla. For most of the movie, Godzilla was off doing side missions and preparing for the final fight at the end of the movie. The best way to describe the relationship between Godzilla and King Kong is that Godzilla makes sure the monsters that embody nature stays in check, while King Kong acts as a defender for humanity. And then there's the most important part of any monster movie: the humans.
Serious?
We meet Trapper, the only large animal veterinarian on the research facility of Monarch. He is helping Dr. Andrews and her adopted daughter, Gia, and he's the only human worth remembering from this film. Gia is believed to be the last of the Iwi people who shares a connection with the legendary creature Mothra. The humans want to help save their world and aid King Kong in his quest, mostly by flying around in Trapper's ship looking to pull out King Kong's tooth, all while playing some sick 80s beats. In the interest of full transparency, I had to go back and look up the human plot to make sense of it. In fact, the movie really shines when it ditches the humans and focuses on the compelling plot between King Kong and Godzilla. At the end of 2021's Godzilla vs. King Kong, the relationship between the two challengers was that of a mutual understanding. As long as they stay in their respective lanes, there will be no problems. Godzilla in this series still causes serious damage in his wake, but more as a warning to other monsters he fights, to show who the real top dog is. And then there's Zuko, a baby-sized version of King Kong, and the little guy acts as a great nunchuck for King Kong too. King Kong manages to non-verbally form a relationship with his mini-me by making simple hand gestures or nodding, shaking his head on what they should do next. Even leading up to the final fight sequence was great too. King Kong knows he's gonna need more firepower in his fight against Scar King, so what's better than that than the king of the monsters? But of course, Godzilla doesn't know that, so when he sees King Kong on his turf, all he sees is red flashing lights saying, "Kill monkey." So now, King Kong has to try and not die while trying to get Godzilla into Hollow Earth so they can actually fight the real threat. All of this is done through no talking whatsoever. I want the Monsterverse to thrive, really, I do. But why not just cut out the middleman entirely and take out the human plotline? For me, at the end of the day, a monster movie should be about monsters. The problem with the Monsterverse is the humans. It's obvious how King Kong manages to communicate with others in Hollow Earth, and you don't need humans to point out, oh, hey look, they're communicating. You can easily make a 90-minute movie with just monsters working together and taking down a bigger threat instead of having a 2-hour movie and using humans as a filler to set up the next scene. In this new movie age of monster flicks, epic action sequences soar, but what the series lacks is a compelling human plot. Now, don't get me wrong. It's hard to compare the human plot from the American films to the most recent Japanese films like Shin Godzilla or -1, but whenever I see the humans on screen, I just think, when are the monsters showing up? I'm not paying $20 to see why 11 from Stranger Things has family drama. I just want to see some great fights. What the series fails to have is emotional weight with the characters. If someone of importance on screen dies, or many people are losing their lives during their action sequences, there has to be some significance to it. It's like the reverse in the most Japanese films. You don't want Godzilla to show up because when he does, it's bad news for everyone within a 25-mile radius. Cut out the things in the movies that don't really make it a monster movie, and it will really flourish. Regardless of your age, there's something about watching the many iterations of your favorite monsters taking down beasts and wreaking havoc all around the metropolitan area. Adding in a crappy B-plot doesn't really add anything to the film, and just takes away from it. And that's been my argument for the recent American Godzilla series. I know I said I wasn't going to make comparison to the Japanese films, but I have to bring up the Oscar award-winning Godzilla -1. One of the reasons that -1 is so effective is because you actually care about the humans in -1. Fighting against Godzilla in a time where they're at the bottom of the barrel, they have nothing left to lose, and everything to gain. In Godzilla x Kong, there's no point for the humans to be there. All they are is just filler to set up for the monsters. Humans can act like monsters, and monsters can show moments of humanity, but definitely not in this movie. It just goes to show that monster movies can work, so long as you have the right direction and just the right amount of love, anything is possible. I don't know what the future has in store for Godzilla and King Kong, but so long as fans are going out to theaters to see their fan favorites on the big screen, I know this movie genre will never truly die. My best guess is with Zuko added into the mix, there might be a Son of Kong movie being made in the future once King Kong is finally done fighting. Who knows? Maybe there will also be a mini version of Godzilla and the cycle will begin anew. It would be really cool to see Destroyer again on the big screen taking on a dying Godzilla. Monster movies aren't dying. I like to see they're being reinvented with each new series that comes out, and I hope with New Empire, it's a colossal step in the right direction. Just like the slow buildup on Godzilla's back, the future of monster movies is optimistically looking bright, and I can't wait to see what the future has in store for our beloved movie mascots. What do you hope to see in the future with monster movies? Do you also think monster movies could do without the unnecessary human plot? Comment on what you think of the movie below. That's it for me. I'm on the hunt for my next review. As always, thanks for watching.